Hi everyone, I'm Ronak from Agarwal Welcome to a new episode on the Like Minded podcast show. Today we'll be talking about UC automation from the eyes of a product head. I'm very excited and fortunate to host Bruno on my show, who is the co founder and VP of products at Kurmi Software. So, welcome, Bruno. So glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Ronald. It's my pleasure to be with you today.
Great. So, Bruno, and with you being one of the co-founders in Kurmi and products, I'm so excited to know about you and what is your role and what are your day-to-day activities.
All right. So I'm VP of product at Kurmi Software. So to make it simple, I'm in charge of the roadmap. So with my team, we're trying to define what should be the product tomorrow. So for that, we need to listen, the market, the competitors, to understand what are looking for customers, what are the new pain on the market, and so to deliver the best product as we can, and to be ready for the future. That's definitely making the roadmap our main job today.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a very challenging job because of so much dynamic, especially on the technology side where AI has come in. So, what has been your journey so far? You've been, developing this product, and what's your background? What's your journey so far being the VP of the product here in Kurmi?
Yes, at the really beginning, so I was a software engineer. So I started with some development. So that was really the first line code was done by myself and some peers. And then, so we starting to present the product. So progressively, I was developing, but also presenting the product and then installing the product, training customers. And so progressively, because we had very, very good feedback after our first installations, so we started to structure the activity, and so it was natural to become first a product manager, and then I hired people in my team. So I became VP of product. That's the way I'm today, VP of product at Kermi.
Right. And I'm sure, and I resonate some of it with you because when I was in college in my days, when you're as a college graduate, you'd always want to do something of your own, create a solution, help customers, and if you're successful, build a team and go from there. I think I totally resonate with your journey. Uh,
Yes,
but
yes, you're right. So, and what is funny is that, to be honest with you, when I started my job, so as a developer, I was not aware that the product management job was a job existing.
yeah,
I was aware about project management. I was
yeah,
aware about of course, development skills, but I was not aware about product management, and that's something super, super exciting.
right. I think product management, Bruno, I've seen it has picked up in the last 4 or 5 years, especially because a lot of focus has gone into product rather than just manage a project.
Yes, correct.
So it's so exciting, and now because you are at Kurmi, and so if you can briefly describe your company and what kind of solutions does Kurmi offer?
Of course. So at Kumi, we developed a product in order to simplify what we call user management. So we are in the unified communication ecosystem. So today, for a large organization, you may rely on maybe Cisco WebEx or Microsoft Teams or Zoom or Avaya solutions in order to just collaborate.
Yeah,
However, every time the IT admin will have to onboard a new employee, it will have to do a lot of configuration within those systems, which are super complex, and that request a lot of time. So
right,
at Kurmi, we decided to develop a product in order to simplify and automate the way to onboard and then, of course, update and finally delete the user in all those systems. So we are partners of Cisco, Microsoft, Avaya, and Zoom, and we provide a layer that will definitely simplify the way to manage users and more in UC ecosystems.
right, right. And one, very, I mean, I would like to say, like, back then when you started developing this product, uh, what was it that you saw that there would be a need for an automation solution? Because in today's world, automation is everything. You have to automate all of it. So like 10, 15 years ago, what was it that was in your head that we would need this solution?
At the really beginning, we started to work with Cisco. If I remember well, it was release number 4 of Cisco. Today it's 15. So I started with release number 4 for the 2 to be honest. And and the fact is that Cisco was competing in France, at least against Alcatel. But the feature set of Cisco was poor compared to Alcatel. So Cisco was looking for partners in order to enhance the feature set around telephony. So when I started the development, it was first to have new features around calling capabilities. But before adding features, I was looking for, okay, but I need first to create my user, to create a phone, and then I will add features. And
Right.
that's the way we see. But wow, that's super complex. It takes me half an hour just to add one user. It's
Right.
super difficult. So we started to chat with customers and partners saying, hey, do you have the same pain? Do you have the same difficulty? And they say yes. And this is why we said, all right, we are sure that Cisco will invest in the future and they will and they will have a strong UC solution in the future. However, we believe that on the provisioning piece, we will still miss something in the future.
Right.
And also because our discussion, so it was 20 years ago, we were already in a spirit of some people, some organization were using several technologies to make their UC solutions. And so they were looking for a single pane of glass in order to manage users because maybe you are using WebEx plus Microsoft at the same time.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I would think that was a very smart strategy back then. You identified the pain, and I guess that's why Kurmi as a solution is so successful, because you are able to identify those pain areas and develop solutions for it. So in your role, because product management is so crucial these days. You help guide the software itself, which basically is related to the revenue that your company is making and how many use cases you are solving. How do you with so much challenging environment, how do you refine your product strategy? Because you could have a customer telling you, develop these 10 features for me. You could have a partner telling you, develop 15 features for me. You could have your own team telling you, we need to go with this kind of features. How do you refine a product strategy for your organization?
That's a very good question, and that's our main challenge. First, it's a lot of discussion. Of course, we've got internal discussion, so from our R&D, from our project management team, from
Right.
our sales team, etc. And so we collect a lot of feedback in order to say, hey, do you have any ideas? What are the current pain with our product, or is there any other pains that we may solve, etc., etc. Then, of course, we are going to a lot of events. 2 weeks ago, I was attending Cisco Live. I will go in a few weeks in Enterprise Connect in Orlando, etc. So
Yeah.
that's another way for my team and I to collect more, let's say, market and trends, meaning where are we going all together in the UC Europe, and to get also some maybe ideas. Of course, we always have a look on our competitors. It's really great to know what they are doing, where they are going to, and to see should we do the same or something fully different that may also provide us some ideas. So that's the basics. It's really to have a lot of discussions. However, then we have to make choices. And so in our company, we decided to introduce a framework named RICE, R-I-C-E. I don't know if you're familiar with this framework, but that's something super useful that will help us to better and to try to rank all our IDs. So
Right.
RICE will be based on R is for rich. So is this idea will reach a lot of end users? Yes, no. What will be the impact of this ID? Are we confident about that? And that, of course, about the cost, the effort. And that will provide a kind of score. So we have defined our own, let's say, RICE categories inside Kurmi. And that's also one tool that will help us to say, okay, maybe this ID is really super important because there is a high score, or maybe that one, all right, it should be a good ID, but the rice is very low. So let's forget it and let's
Okay.
move forward to another one.
Okay. No, that's I've first time ever heard this this principle that you mentioned. Is it a standard principle or it just
Yes.
you developed? Okay.
No, no, it's not. Yeah, it's something that is used by several software companies, right? So you provide a rich impact effort, and then you divide by the effort. Sorry, rich impact confidence, and you divide by the effort, and that will provide you a score.
Right, right. And that helps you develop the features based on the right score and your
That help us to decide which feature we should develop versus will feature we won't develop right now. We will make it maybe later, but not
right,
now. Because that's really the main point of our job. It's a lot of frustrations. We have
right,
thousands and thousands of ideas, of course, and great ideas from the team, from our customers, etc. But of course, we have limited resources. Unfortunately, that's the game, and
right,
so we have to make a choice, and when you make choice there are always people that are not happy, etc. So a lot of frustration, of course, but that's part of the job.
right. And how do you because I'm from a unified communication domain and um even with this formula, how do you make sure that you are moving ahead in your step? Because like I would say 2 years ago, provisioning use case was used a lot because you had Cisco and so many other PBXs. But with companies moving to cloud, some of this element, the effort needed to provision a user in Teams would be lesser than creating a user on Cisco, for example. So with your product strategy and this formula that you have, how do you make sure that you're still moving ahead in terms of product? Because you may be developing. So, I mean, do you think that feature you're developing today would be relevant for 5 years, 6 years? Is it something that is considered?
Yes, definitely. First, I think that what is super important is um, at the same time the market is moving very fast.
Yes.
uh, Stuff are changing very, very fast, but if we have a look also, we are still making phone call like 20 years ago for some companies. So at the same time, stuff are moving very fast, and at the same time, it's quite slow, which is not so bad for us.
Right.
When we have a look about what we was doing on prem with Avaya communication managers, with CUCM from Cisco, Microsoft Link, in the past, the way to create a user was super complex.
Right.
Now, if we have a look to new solution in the cloud, so WebEx, Microsoft Teams, etc., at a starting point, the user of creation, the creation of a new user was a little bit simpler. So
Right.
we were, to be honest with you, we were a little bit, maybe we have to change our plan because we won't provide value. However, good news for us is that Microsoft and Cisco and Avaya and Zoom, they are adding more and more and more features every week, every
Right.
month in their solution.
Right.
So the
Right.
way to onboard a new user is more and more complex. And so we are back
Right. Right.
because large organizations are now again looking for a way to simplify and automate this user creation. So now the cloud is like it was on-prem, at
Right.
least when we have a look of how to create a new user, it's still super complex.
Right. Right. No, I mean, I understand your answer, but I feel the complexity behind the process of the discussions and the philosophies because you being heading the product is focused on developing features, but then you get slowed down with the so many requests coming in and so many discussions on what to develop and so on. So
Um,
it's very
yeah,
complex.
yeah. Another decision we have taken in the past and that helped us a lot, of course, is that we decided to have a product which is built like a kind of framework. It means
Right.
that, of course, you can deploy our product, it's plug and play, easy to deploy, and so you can easily create a new user. However, if you have very complex workflow inside your company, if you're looking for something really special, you won't have always to request our roadmap and to reach my team in order to say, hey, I would like a new feature in the product. You will be able to do some development by yourself. We
Okay.
provide a kind of SDK And it means that thanks to this SDK, for example, if you want to plug our product to a new UC system that is not supported by us, you can do it by yourself. So you have a kind of autonomous to enhance the product by yourself, and you won't have to wait for the roadmap. And for us, that's a key also argument to say, I'm sorry, this is not part of my roadmap, or I won't be able to deliver it in the next 6 months. However, good news, you can do it right now by yourself.
Yeah, I think that that is important, the openness of the solution. And I have experienced it myself. We have used Kurmi a lot, and positioned Kurmi, and so and I know I've seen so many demos, and where I can just go with a request, and in one day everything is created for my demo. So I think that that has really helped me in the past. So how do you make sure security, privacy, and compliance of these solutions are intact with so much going on in your strategy?
You're right, and security definitely is super important. Just for you to know, so 2 years ago, we have launched also Kurmi as a service. So it means now you can have your own Kurmi on-prem, or you can consume Kurmi as a cloud solution. And coming back on the security, we have passed the certification ISO 27001. So that's one of my answer. Now we are certified for Kurmi as a service ISO 20001. We have also one guy who is 100% dedicated to security stuff, just to be sure that our libraries are up to date, that we are doing a lot of tests regarding security. We have external company, not only for ISO, but other companies that will audit our software with
Right.
some kind of pen test, for
Okay.
example. That's the kind of stuff that we are also doing. So definitely from the conception, during development, after development, during the full life cycle of the product, security is everywhere. That's super important. And we all know that, unfortunately, after the COVID, there are more and more and more cyber attack. So that's
Yeah.
super important to be 100% good with security.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you won't want to become a gateway into security attacks, because you are accessing Active Directory, you are accessing the PBXs. So
Correct.
could
But
could be.
You,
Yeah.
you're right, but we have also made a lot of effort to be
Yeah.
sure that when we need to access to Microsoft Cloud or Cisco WebEx, we will only access to what we need. So, for example, we need to assign you a phone number. We don't need to, I don't know, access to your email. So we won't have the access to the email stuff, for example. Just to be sure, if there is any risk regarding Kurmi, that will only concern the data that we need to manage.
Right.
So the risk will be limited. And so we make a lot of effort not to ask for a root access, but really to have only access, and not only with login password, but with certificates and token access, etc., etc.
Right. Right. Yeah. Security has been one of the concerns, especially on the
Of course.
banking and insurance environments where
Yes.
it's so closed. Okay. And I will, and while we are discussing at this point, I'll play the provisioning video that you had shared with me with for the people who are seeing this, to see how easy is to provision a user on Kurmi solution. So I'll play that video here now. And so Bruno, moving on with the discussion, because I'm really understanding from your point of view, how you create a product strategy and what to develop, what not to develop. But when it comes to customers, I'm sure customer insights take more priority than anyone else. But how do you gather that feedback? How do you gather those information of what needs to be developed from
The-
customers?
There are several ways to get feedback from customers. The first one is that my team is making some interviews with customers. So that's
Okay.
one way to collect feedback. Then also we have some surveys after training and stuff like that that provide us some feedback. And most of the time, because our customers are mainly service providers and large organization, we have the chance to meet customers during events. So I'm sure that during enterprise connects, I will meet customer, and that's also another way for
Yes.
me and my team to collect feedback. And something new that we will have in 2024. So it's like a teasing because it's not yet public, but we will have also a new CSM inside Kurmi, so Customer Success Manager, in order also to better, let's say, to better serve our customers, and that will be one way, another way also to collect new feedback, because
Right.
definitely feedbacks are super critical for us to improve the product.
Right, right. And basically you create structures and create sprints depending on the feature development, and then basically develop the product based on the feedback you've received.
Yes, so the feedback that will provide the customer will be part also of the RISE. So that will be one way also for us to select which feature we should develop or not developed.
Right. And just on this particular question, how do you balance the need for innovation versus reiterating or iterating on the existing products? Because if, for example, CUCM 14 was there a year ago, this is 15, the libraries would have changed. So how do you make sure you innovate but still reiterate the existing product?
So that's a good question. So what we decided at Kurmi is that we save a percentage of the bandwidth in order to be sure that at least a part of the roadmap will be dedicated for innovation.
Right.
So just to give you maybe also a few announcements today, we are right now working on a new protocol named SCIM in order to see so we can say scheme SCIM in order to see what we can do around SCIM. We have also some innovation around a message broker. Today, we collect data from systems, but that's us
Right.
that will collect data. We are looking for maybe a new kind of architecture based on message brokers. That's another area of innovations. And also regarding ServiceNow, we have today integration with ServiceNow, which is based on our APIs, but we are
Right.
looking for, and we will make some announcements in the next hoping few weeks. We are developing a dedicated app on ServiceNow in order to simplify the integration between ServiceNow and Kurmi. So that's the kind of area of innovation. But of course, we save also bandwidth because that's, let's say, our normal business.
Right.
We need to follow the roadmap of Microsoft and Cisco, extra,
Right.
etc.
Right. Right. And how do you, because in my experience, when you innovate, you need little more time than reiterating the same thing, because reiteration is already created. You're just improving it. So how do you and sometimes innovation, if you're not able to innovate quickly, sometimes demotivates the team. So how do you foster a culture of innovation in within your team and within the product development lifecycle itself?
What is super important is when we are doing innovation is not trying to do up to the end. It's really to have
Right.
step by step, maybe just first a screenshot, then a proof of concept, and it's agile uh, and organization. It's to go step by step in order just to be
Right.
sure that we are going into the good direction, just also to be able to say we should stop because we are going nowhere or it costs too much. so there is no gain,
Right.
etc.,
Right.
etc. So really, in order to innovate, is to have a focus, but a short-term focus, in order to move forward, and to be sure that we will save bandwidth for this innovation.
Right. So basically, you're saying you have short-term goals in terms of,
Yes.
so you're basically kind of, people are saying to themselves that yes, we have put in effort, but we have in between, even though it's one feature broken down into four milestones, but in their head they know that they have achieved a milestone. That gives satisfaction to them.
Yeah, yeah. If someone from the R&D come to my team saying, "Hey, Bruno, I've got a super idea with AI. It's
Right.
innovation. It will cost 1,000 man days." My suggestion, so I will have a discussion, of course, with him, and I'll say, "Okay, I will give you 20 man days, not 1,000, 20 man days. Let me
Right.
show you." So you have 20 man days. You can do what you want with those 20 man days, and after we will take maybe a decision to reinvest maybe more, 100 more, etc., etc.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, and while all your answers is just in my head, I'm thinking this job is so complex because you're navigating so many teams, motivating yourself, motivating the team, leading the product for innovation, and still being able to meet with the OEM recommendations, and going to so many events. And so I think it's a challenging job that you have. And
That's definitely super exciting, because at the
yeah,
same time you are in contact with technical people from the R&D, with people, what we call our PS, professional services team, that will be in charge to install, train our
yeah,
customers. You are, of course, in discussion with our sales team, so you will help, and you will support them to sell the product. You have a lot of ability to meet customers, to go to events.
right,
So yes, that's super exciting.
right. Yeah, I mean, if you don't love this job, then it'll be a very challenging job. But I think your love for the product and the help that you provide to various customers is, I think, is motivating you a lot.
Yes, for sure.
Right. And you said, because it's just not about developing features for you, you also want it to reach out to your salespeople and channel and everywhere. So how do you make sure that this cross-functional collaboration between product team, sales, channel, customers is happening effectively?
Good point. So we had in Kurmi a lot of process, and in order to be sure that we will communicate with all the team.
Right.
First, for example, we have, and I'm sending every Monday an internal report to the whole company saying, "Hey,
Right.
this is how we are progressing regarding the current sprint." We try
Right.
to keep it high level, because that will be read by sales guy, etc. Just
Right.
saying, "Hey, this is what we are developing. Why? How are we progressing? Are we on track, delayed, etc., etc.?" It's
Right.
every week. At the end of each sprint, we will make a presentation to the whole company again, saying, "Hey, this is what we've done during the latest sprint." So first, so every week, every month, we have a dedicated communication from the product team to the whole company. Then we have also
Right.
dedicated meeting once a month, for example, with the pre-sales guy, in order to have a roundtable, in order for us to
Right.
share maybe more technical stuff, and also to collect feedback from them regarding the latest opportunities, the latest demos they've done, what was good, what was not good, and in order to move forward all together. So we have also that kind of dedicated meetings that are planned every month, most of the time.
Right. Right. And okay. Yeah, because part of the challenge you have is not just developing the product, but you could develop the best product, but you may fail in your sales strategy, and that's where collaboration between the product team, which I have seen, I mean, which I'm seeing more happening nowadays with different companies, that product teams are uh, having you know uh, stronger bridges built between the sales and the channels and the product teams, because that's where the flow of information will happen. Without you enabling sales, they won't be able to function.
And you're right, and that's a real challenge. We are in a technical world. Unified communication is something super technical. We are speaking
Yeah.
about automation, which is super technical. When I'm
Right.
saying SDK, API, etc.,
Right. Right.
etc., and our sales guy, their sales, and
Right.
so we need to provide. them the relevant speech and value of our product, which is not,
Right.
honestly, it's not always easy. So yes,
Right.
that's a real challenge to support our sales team in order to give them all the keys to promote well the product.
Right. Right. And I'm so glad to hear this answer because at Kurmi, if you're doing that, then it speaks a lot good things about the product because you are going in the right direction. I think that's what I can sense from your answer because sales and some of the customers don't speak technical. So how do you make sure that your technical elements are being told to them in a way that they understand and they can explain?
You're right. Yes.
Right. Yeah, and on this, especially on the stakeholder side, so often you have conflicting requirements and expectations from various stakeholders. Maybe it could be a customer, it could be your sales team. Like how and because I'm why I'm asking this is because this has direct relation to the product enhancement and the roadmap. So if there are conflicting needs and expectations from various stakeholders, how do you navigate and make sure that you know the right needs and expectations are met immediately?
That's negotiation. It's a case by
Right.
case approach. Of course, uh, we try to evaluate the risk, evaluate the cost, and to take the best decision. So that will really depend of the context. And sometimes where there is no solution, we can also exceptionally hire people for a period of time that will just reinforce our team because we have a kind of prize to solve during the
Right.
next maybe 2 months. That's also
Right.
something that we can do. However, as I said, that the strange stuff is that in the UC, everything is going slow and fast at the same time. And what
Yeah.
we've seen is that, for example, when a customer will decide to migrate from a technology to another technology, it will take years. And that's why when we have requests, and I can say, if I deliver you this request in the next 3 months, is that okay? Most of the time, the answer is yes. So that's the way we can deal with priority.
Right. 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 And what are the some common challenges you have faced as in your particular role that you have today, and how did you overcome them?
The most difficult for us is that today we connect to a lot of different systems, so
Right.
Cisco and Microsoft and Zoom, and so we need to be aware about all those systems in all releases.
Right.
And because we want to provide a high quality product, we would like to have a lot of licenses on all the systems. So for us, one of the challenge is to be able to get our own lab for all technologies in all
Right.
releases with a lot of licenses in order to do some scalable tests. So that's
Right.
something that is not easy because when we ask Cisco or Microsoft saying, "Hey, we would like a platform with 1 million license," they say, "Hey, who are you, Kurmi?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something that it's not easy. And the second challenge is more technical, is the fact that, and that's the same for Cisco and Microsoft and Zoom, they may change their API during the night without any notice now.
Right.
That's the challenge of the cloud. So we need to have on our side all the tools that is always testing, non-stop testing the APIs, just to be sure that, hey, Microsoft or Cisco made a change during the night, something is
Right.
now broken, we need to fix it as soon as possible. So we need to be very agile in order to be sure that if Microsoft or Cisco change something without notice,
Right.
to be able to adapt ourselves because we will be faster than Cisco and Microsoft.
Right. 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 And yeah, I mean, and newer features, functionalities are adding as well. So you need to build new connections and
Yes.
right. And and okay. So basically, you're saying you have tools and methods to make sure that these kind of challenges can be solved. Otherwise, your product would not even function
Yes.
if you didn't have
Yes.
that.
And that's something important. We've seen some large organizations that have taken in the past the decision to do the development by themselves, saying,
Right.
"Oh, we won't purchase Kurmi or a tool like Kurmi because we think that we can do it by ourselves." But the reality today is
Yeah.
that a lot of difficulties to maintain what they've done in the past. But at
Right.
Kurmi, because that's our job and we started
Right.
this 20 years ago, we have tools and workflow and method to be sure that what we've done
Right.
even 5 or 10 years ago is still working. If there is an issue, to fix it quickly, to have the good relationship with Cisco and Microsoft, to fix it quickly if we need to do something together, etc., etc.
Right.
So
And
it's not only about building the product, but
yeah,
also to maintain the product.
correct. And I have been asked these questions that when we talk about Kurmi, I've been told that why can't we develop our own scripts? It's just scripts that we're developing in Ansible. I said, good luck with that because you can, if it's a one-time solution, you can develop and remove, and that's okay. We are not talking
Yes.
about one-time provisioning. We are talking about provisioning for few years.
Yes.
You
And
just
and 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 another story I've got is that also one company decided to do it by himself because there was one engineer
yeah,
very good, and he has done something just amazing, but one day he left,
yeah.
and the company wow, the guy is not there, so nobody knows how does that work, nobody knows
Right,
how to fix it, etc., etc.
right.
So
Yeah,
it's also a risk.
yeah. No, I faced this with another customer where the guy left. He has built some PowerShell scripts, but the guy left, and they came to me for a fix. I said, we can't redo what he has done because the person is no longer with the company.
Yeah. And finally, the for me, and this is much more recent, it's about security. Uh,
Yeah,
I, when I see the strong and mass investment that we are doing on security to be sure that everything is done in a proper way, library are up to date, we are doing tests with external companies, etc. I
right,
think that when you are doing by yourself on your computer, you won't unfortunately, I think you won't take care of the security as
correct,
well as we are doing. And so only for security stuff, I would definitely recommend to do to be sure that you are using a strong software and not a homemade development.
right. No, I think that's where Kurmi is outshining the other competitors of yours because you have a working product, but you're securing it as well so that it is easier to use and can be deployed anywhere.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And I think this is where, because a lot of your product development is bases the trends as well. So, as per you, like what are the UC trends that you are seeing in the market today, and how do you see the UC world shape up?
So today, definitely ship to the cloud, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, it started with the COVID, and now it's accelerating a lot. Um, Definitely, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Cisco WebEx are the main leaders on the market, and maybe we can add, of course, Avaya. I'm speaking for larger organizations because
Right.
that's our playground, of course. But what is super interesting, see, also is that we see at the beginning of the cloud, companies were selecting one UC vendor, saying, I'm going with Cisco or I'm going with Microsoft. And now what we
Right.
are seeing is that more and more companies are looking for several UC vendors
Right.
because for the headquarters, they want Zoom, and for branch offices, they would like Microsoft, etc. And
Right.
so they mix technologies.
Right. Right.
And so because they are mixing technologies, they are looking for tools like us that will be able
Right.
to provide a single pane of glass for the provisioning. So the trend that we are seeing right now is migration to the cloud, but not to one cloud, but to several vendors.
Right. Right. And that has been, I think, it's been there since the time Microsoft Teams have come out, because even before with Cisco, you had Siemens and you had Alcatel and so many local PBXs that were to be managed.
No, yes, you're right. In the past, we were working also with Alcatel,
Right.
Mitel, but when we have when we have a look to cloud solution, definitely Cisco, Zoom, Microsoft are the main UC vendors.
Right. And Bruno, one thing that has significantly picked up, at least in my view, in the last 1 year or so, is experience, user experience. So, Kurmi has single pane of glass, easy to configure. How do you, add that user experience element into your solution today from an end
Yeah.
user perspective, not from an admin perspective?
Yes, that's something important. Even if users of our product are administrators, most of people that will connect to Kurmi will be IT admin guys.
Right,
The admin experience, the user experience is super important.
right,
Um, uh, with the cloud, we've seen more and more solutions that are more and more easy to use, nice look and feel, etc. And so when now, even if you are at the IT team, you are looking for that kind of interface. So this is why we are always investing in the interface of Kurmi to provide something more and more nice, more and more easy
right,
to use.
right, right. So that makes it easier for the admin, especially, to make changes and do what they have to do.
Yes.
Right, right. And with your integration with ServiceNow and other application, it becomes the flow of ticket flow becomes very easy, I think.
Yes, definitely. Now with the integration of ServiceNow, you can log into to ServiceNow, say, hey, I've got just John Smith joining my
Right,
company, click on apply, that's it.
right,
ServiceNow will send the request to Kurmi. Kurmi will do the stuff. So maybe create a WebEx device on WebEx, Microsoft
right,
Teams account, etc., etc. And then a reply to ServiceNow saying, hey, it's done. John Smith can start his work.
right, right, right. Yeah, it is so crucial. And is artificial intelligence or data analytics part of any strategy? Are you putting AI in some shape, form in your solution?
Everywhere, everywhere. But today, we are using AI more to help us in our day-to-day work. It means that for the R&D, for example, to check the way they are doing their development for the security stuff, etc. But also in the marketing team, in order to help us to do better presentations, better communications,
Right,
etc. On the sales, etc., etc. So AI is more today a tool that we are using internally in order to be more
right.
efficient in our day-to-day work. It's not yet inside our product, but yes, this is something that we are studying.
Right, because every UC OEM, is adding, like for example, Microsoft has added Copilot now, Zoom has added AI
Yeah.
Companion, Cisco WebEx has their own form of AI. So ultimately, this AI on the UC will eventually become part of a user's provisioning. About it.
One role that will be for us for sure is that so that's the beginning of AI and also that's the beginning of the cost of AI. It means that tomorrow when the admin IT will have to onboard John Smith, he will have to say, hey, is John Smith able to use Copilot or not? And so
Right,
we will have to assign the license of Copilot. And that's the place where Kurmi can have a role saying, hey, yes, you need to create John Smith on Microsoft and you need to enable Copilot capabilities, or maybe not because it's just
right,
an internship and you won't need it.
right,
That will be one of role, and also to provide abilities for the admin IT to provide some kind of report saying, hey, this is
right,
people using AI, this is people not using AI, is that aligned with your strategy, etc., etc. That's the place where Kurmi can bring values.
right. Even in adoption, I would think that because of your reporting, they can tell, how many meetings got uh, monitored through an AI bot or something.
Yeah. Yeah. For that, we are more working with partners on the adoption, like IR, Prognosis, Nectar, Imagical,
Right,
Moyobi,
right,
that are providing some reports about the adoption, the usage, which is not today part of our product. We are more focusing on
right,
the provisioning side.
right, right. And I think this brings up a very good point, because obviously you have channel partners and sales, uh, you know, but as Kurmi, like how do you work with other partners where let's say you don't have this capability, but the other OEM may have a capability and you add on. So is it something that you're looking at within Kurmi?
Yes, we have strong partnership with this what I call the UC ecosystem.
Right,
So yes, we work very closely with Imagical, as I said, Moyobi,
right,
another example, Hypernosis, Viopta,
right, right,
Nectar, just to say a few names. To be sure, and every time we have a request from a customer saying, "Hey, are you able to?" No, sorry, that's not our DNA, but we know someone. That's
right,
the way we are all working together. It's a
right.
small world.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember the ecosystem way of selling was onboarded by Apple. I don't know. I think Apple introduced this concept, or I don't know who did that, but I think when you sell an ecosystem, you're able to, advise the customer better than
Yes, definitely yes.
right, right, right. I think I've been asking a lot of questions to you, Bruno. Just uh, when we I think one or two I may ask is because you have such a rich experience on product, and you have started young as a product developer and created Kurmi, your solution. What advice do you have for people who want to who are aspiring a career in product management? Because today I see that developer jobs are so many out there, but if somebody's starting into this, like, what would you advise them?
I think that the most important is to be passionate about what you are doing. That's a lot of passion, and that's super important. If you don't have this passion, maybe that's not the good direction for you. Definitely. And also, what you should be aware if you are looking for that kind of uh, of um of job is that you have to be very open-minded to have
Right,
technical discussion, but at the same time, marketing discussion or executive discussion. So you are able to have a discussion with analysts and at the same time
right,
with customers, etc.
right,
So you have to be very open-minded, open the other, listen feedback, etc. That's super important.
right, right. Yeah, with your role, I'm sure you are everywhere because um and I think gone are the days where if you are a technical person, a nerd, where you didn't have to speak to people. Now you have to have good communication skill as well if you are developing a product, because you're speaking to so many, and if you can't explain your product, then nobody will buy it.
You got it.
Yeah, I think
You're
before
right.
it was not the case. Before you could sit in your room, close the door, and nobody would care. But I
No,
think the
no.
time have completely changed now.
Yes, yes, you're right. You have to promote your product, and so you need to have strong communication skills, definitely.
Right. Right. I mean, and Bruno, I mean, I think these are some of the questions that I had. I had the privilege to use Kurmi, in the capacity that I work, and I really loved the solution. More than the solution, what I loved was the openness of communication. Whenever I reached, I always got prompt responses. It's never been a delay of any kind of response, and I think and the flexibility and the customization of people working in Kurmi has excited me a lot, because I would get answers instantly, and if I would request for a customized demo, I would get the demo ready next day.
Thank you
So
for the feedback. Really appreciate
no,
it.
no, I mean, I loved the especially the people in Kurmi and your product, and that's why I think I keep coming back to Kurmi, and also wanted to do this podcast so that people understand that if they don't know about Kurmi, they can at least know from you, and and use it. Obviously there will be things that needs improvement, but that's how it is, right?
Of
That's where the
course.
feedback loop comes in, and they tell you, and then you work on the feedback.
Thank you so much.
Right. Anything that you would want to, as a closure statement, you would want to say, Bruno?
Uh, I think we're good. Once again, thank you for this podcast. That's great to be able to share my journey, let's say, and do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. Of course.
Yeah, I will link your website and your details in the description, so that if anybody is interested, can reach out and explore your product. I'm sure Kurmi is known by many. I've come across very less people, at least on the UC side, that doesn't know about Kurmi. But if there is anybody has questions, they can reach out to me, to you, and I think we can help that way. But really appreciate, Bruno, for your time. I know you were not
Thank you
well
so much.
last week, but really appreciate your time, Bruno, today.
That was good.
Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you very much.